welcome to Branch of Israel. This is Rabbi Roger coming to you from God's beautiful country, Israel. Have you ever heard the phrase, silence is golden? Have you ever really wondered what it means or where did it come from? As you already know, this phrase states, it is better to remain silent than to speak. In other words, less is more. The full phrase, most people probably do not realize, and this goes for me as well, speech is silver, silence is golden. As for its origin, there seems to be a bit of speculation. Yet a couple of thoughts are, it might have been from David in the Psalms, which brings me to my point. There was a woman by the name of Ruth Ward Heflin who wrote a book called Glory. In this book, she explained how to have the glory of God manifest during worship. Let me say this. My wife and I put it into practice, and God's glory showed up in a powerful and mighty way, and not just once, but many times. Because of lack of time, I'll give you the one-sentence description of what the book is about. Praise until the worship comes, then worship until the glory comes, then stand in the glory. Let me explain. You talk about Him, and then by a move of the Spirit, you talk to Him. But once you do that, you never go back to praise, which talks about Him. During the worship, the glory will fall, and at that point, you stop and you wait on Him. This is where a lot of worship leaders miss it and never experience the glory of God, but instead, maybe His big toe. Let me back this scripturally for you. In Psalm 65:1 in the New American Standard Version, it reads, "There will be silence before you and praise in Zion, O God, and to you the vow will be performed." Well, that is all right, but it is not what is really stated in the Hebrew. The complete Jewish Bible is the only version I have seen get it correct. To you, O God, in Zion, silence is praise, and vows to you are to be fulfilled. Wait, silence is praise? Yes, silence is praise. See, the key that Ruth Heflin learned was right there in the Psalms. Too many worship leaders today do not know how to be silent. Too many feel awkward if they stood silent for 10 minutes. They might feel they've lost control. If you want the glory, then lose control and let God take over. Think of it like this. An inexperienced co-pilot that loses control of an aircraft will gladly pass it to a more experienced pilot to pull them out of a situation. There's one more verse I want to look at very quickly before I go, in 1 Kings 19:11 and 12. In both these verses, God brings a strong wind, an earthquake, and a fire. After all the noise, then came a still small voice, which is generally a good translation, but in Rabbi's literal, it reads, a thin, small voice of silence. The Hebrew word for small is the exact same word we use today for thin, like when asking the butcher to give you a very, very thin slice of meat. In other words, with all the noise, how can you hear His voice? We need to be in a quiet place in order to hear His voice. So learn to let go and let God. If you want to get in touch with us or get on our mailing list, visit branchofisrael.com. Again, this is Rabbi Roger coming to you from Israel. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye, or see you again.